Hi, welcome back to Mechanic Garage. Happy New Year. A few days late, but I haven't been on here, so I have finally, eventually, got some parts. The first lot of parts turned up damaged, so then they were late, and then they were damaged, so I couldn't even use that. Being a head gasket in the post, typical thing at the hour. So I got another one, and I'm going to get the Peugeot back together. As you may have seen in another video, I cleaned all this up, stripped it all down, cleaned it all up well before Christmas. The parts should have been here on the 27th, but then didn't turn up till New Year's Eve. And as I say, the head gasket was no good, couldn't use it, so I had to order a new one. Cleaned all this up, give it a good scuff over, cleaned it all up, checked it's true, and it's virtually perfect. There's hardly any deflection whatsoever, and even then I can't get the thinnest of feeler gauges underneath it. They're just a hint of light, and that's good enough for me. Got a new header tank for it because the one that was on was so brown and gungy it was just horrible. Flushed out the rest of the cooling system, cleaned out as much as I can of the rusty goo. The radiator is clear, a new thermostat in from last time before. Gasket and everything I had to replace on there originally. I've got a new one for it. So realistically now, it's going to be a case of putting it all back together. I've cleaned out all the holes and I've sucked out any of the gunge and sludgy stuff that was potentially around the bores. You can see those cylinders are a lot cleaner because that's where it had the moisture. And these ones got a bit more carbon in. But yeah, that one where it was leaking here was the worst of it. So I'm going to get it all back together. Put you on time lapse for it because it'll take a while. The bits in between I'll show you. Other than that, we'll get it all fixed and up and running, and hopefully back to the guy that owns it today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow. Right, I'll start off. Cleaned all this surface up. I've got a big lump of flaky stuff in there. You might have seen it on the video. New head gasket. This here is your oil way. And that's one on the other head gasket. This wasn't glued in the right place. It was proud. It was just horrible. So I got a decent, better quality one. Dropped that onto pegs. I've had the dowels out, so I cleaned up and everything. I didn't undo this. It was stuck on the bottom of the gearbox, so I've got to feed the cylinder head onto that first. I shall put that there for now. So I've got a couple of things to do, gaskets to fit in. I've got to put this end cover on anyway, but I just need to get the exhaust manifold gasket on there before I fit it. Otherwise, I'm not getting it in there. As if by magic, there's a second stud and the gasket. So I put that on there, because otherwise this was dropping off and going to get stuck down the inside. So put that on there. It's then just a case of hooking that into that manifold and positioning it in the right place to drop onto the studs. Easy as that. And that's now sat on the dowels. Need to get this fitted on the end, which means actually I'm going to have to yeah, I'm going to have to take this back off because I've got to fit this first. I said that to myself earlier and I still forgot. Right, that's it back in position. I've remembered this time. Get this on first, because it's got that extended stud on it. Well, the stud on it from last time, like I showed you, and because of everything else in the way, it's difficult to get on. So I had to put that on before. So get all these tightened up, go around them evenly. Don't need to over tighten them, just all steady tight. Steady tight? I don't know what that is. Evenly tight and not too much. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, that's all I'm on. Next is get the rockers on and then tighten down the head. Right, I've got the rockers back on and I've just timed up the cam belt because it was already timed up. I've already done it. All I did is managed to release the pressure on the tensioner, lift the belt back up, hook it on. I can see the mark in the bottom and it's bang on, so that saved a lot of stripping down. However, it's chucking it down again now, so I'm gonna have to wait a minute because the next job is tightening down the head bolts, and I can't find my proper metal dial gauge, so I'm using the one that I used previously to get your 270 degrees. So all I'll do is put it around the bolt, put it in position, mark on the engine this point, and then I know exactly how far I've got to go. It's basically 3/4 of a turn. You got your 90, 180, 270. Normally there would be 2 or 3 stages where you get a 90 all the way through, then you get another 90, and then another 90. There's nothing I can find online to say that's right. Sorry, that's correct for these engines. It just shows you 20 Newton meters, which I've just done, and 270 degrees, so in one go. So that'll be the way I'm going to do it. It's a bit odd, but everything's different. Stretch bolts, you're probably better off doing them in one go, so you get an even pull on the bolts themselves. So once this little drizzly horrible stuff goes, because I've got paper protractor for the angles, I don't want to get that soaking wet. However, I can work out 3/4 of a turn if worst comes to worst. Right, starting off as a set sequence for them, it's the same pretty much everything. So you work that way, or some you have to work this way, but I tend to do that. And basically swap sides, swap front to back on each one. Right, I know this is bang on straight, so I know I need to be pointing over there at you. So I'm going to start with this one, and basically a horrible creaky noise, even though it's oiled. Oh, that's awful. There you go. Right, then the same with this one. I did clean out all the holes. Right, that one's just ever so slightly off, so I'll just stop pointing at, which was 90, basic pointing at this corner. But yeah, every hole was cleaned out nicely. All the bolts oiled. Not ridiculously oiled, but yeah, that's 2. This one will need to go. If I can turn it from there, point it straight this corner. Don't like this. And that's it. They're all done in one go. 2 of them were creaky, a bit tight, but the angle is correct and the torque was correct in the first place. I have to move because I'm getting wet now, soaking my phone. Right, I've been fighting rain on and off, so I've just basically between the showers been throwing it back together. You won't be able to see much of the inlet manifold anyway. Right, it's all back together, timed up. I've just wound it over just to make sure it didn't go horribly wrong. But I'm now going to crank it over, get a bit more oil up the top end, then I'll put the coil pack on. It's got water in, just need to bleed the air out and do that once it's running. But for now, I'm just going to see what happens, and hopefully it'll be alright. I'm going to find the key, there we go. We're getting oil up properly onto the the rockers, all these now getting oil through them, so that's a good sign. I can connect this back up, and that means we'll have a spark. So in theory now, it should just start instantly. Should. No guarantees with this job, ever. We shall see. It won't run for long if it is, because it'll throw oil everywhere. There you go. You see the inside of an engine running. Bit of rain and moisture running off there. Burning off either. Just need to get rid of the air out of it. Because these are mounted to the head, doesn't change anything between the head and the valve clearance on the camshaft. They're all set within the head, so in theory they should all still be right, and they're still quiet, so we're good. I might check them. I might just check them just to be on the safe side. Although I did do them before, so there's no reason they shouldn't be right. Just need to get the air through, water through, and the air out. Right, getting dark now. It's been running, it's got warm. No sign of any oil or coolant leaks. Again, it bled it all up the same as before, but you'd seen all that, so just rinsed away all the coolant that had bled out, and it and there's a bit there I've missed. Didn't have a torch on there. Yeah, we'll rinse that away. Otherwise you can't see leaks if you've got coolant dripping off things. But there's no leak in this corner where it was before. No sign of any oil leaks from the rocker cover. Everything else is back together. Cam belt tension was correct. The good thing was, looking down here, I could see the white mark at the bottom that I'd put on the top of the pulley, and on the well, if you watch the video you can see it, but there's like a white mark on the pulley and on the engine case. So I lined that up down the hole, release the pressure on the tensioner, put the belt back on in the right place, put the bolt back in to time it up. It's dead easy. And the caterpillar, where did he come from? You get cooked if you stay on there, mate. It's in the grass now. So yeah, everything's running fine. So you need to get up to temperature, get the water done. Water level's not going anywhere now. Before, with this combustion pressure getting inside it, all it was doing was pressurising, pushing the water level up. Which now, there you go, it's a little bit above max, but it'll settle once it's cooled. But it's all back together. Light and time has been against me today. Oh, and rain. So it's been a bit of a jump about video rather than watching it all in real time, because when you're filming, as anybody will do it, anybody that does it knows, everything takes twice as long. And with a delay of parts, and then the damaged parts, it was a case of it needed to get done, and it needed to get done today. So it is. Can't see any leaks anywhere, there's no sign of anything, it's all good. I was confident there wouldn't be. But then again, I said that before, didn't I? Yeah. So realistically now, it's just going to be a case of let it run, let it equalise all the pressures and everything, and make sure there's no air in it, make sure everything's happy, and give the guy a ring, let him know it's come back. Sorry, you can have it back. But what's the temperature doing? Oh, it's getting there. It's a little bit low, but pretend not to get warm when they're sat still. And I'll have to plug it in to clear the management light, because the battery must have cranked a little bit low, because it's lost the memory on the clock. And if it loses the memory on the clock, it's because it went too low on the battery. So, in fact, no, it's lost the memory on the clock because I disconnected the battery. Ugh, it was that long ago I did it, I've forgotten. So right, that's about it. Just the airbox to put back in, and the battery cover. I just wanted to make sure it was all alright down this side, because that's where the water leak was before. That side cover. There's no sign of anything. So this time should be the last time, and then the guy can actually have his car back. I think it's fixed. I think it's finally fixed. I've got it bled up, took it for a couple of drives, and water level's exactly where I left it. Can't really see it. Yeah, you can. There you go. Right on, just tiny spot above max. No water leak down there. Nothing whatsoever. I rinsed all this off with clean water, and there's no sign of any coolant. The water level hasn't gone up at all. It's all been well finished. I'm going to leave it till the morning, let it cool down, then check all the levels and double check it, because that seems to be where it was leaking before, is when it had been sat. But you could see it on the corner of the head before, and there's absolutely nothing there now. The light really doesn't help you. Tell you what, set the camera flash on, it's a bit less aggressive. But yeah, there's no sign of any water leak down there, no oil leaks, no nothing. Water level stayed the same, so I'm going to say that that's it, done. There you go, face that way. It's been a bit of a mission, but mostly, that's better, see what I'm doing, mostly down to parts, or lack of parts, and delays with Christmas, and then damaged bits when they turned up. So like I say, I'll check it in the morning, I'll put this video out tonight, and if you don't see any more videos on it, it's fixed, it's all done. So hopefully we can say goodbye to that, and the guy that bought it can actually enjoy using it, rather than just watching it on YouTube in bits, which is what he's been doing. So all been well, I'll put this out tonight. All been well, this is the last video, like I say. So thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the people that bought me a coffee as well. It does actually it's good, because it's like this never ending job. There's always something. So anybody who wants to buy us a coffee, that's great, because I've had a few already. One guy took pity on me. He's like, oh, you've had that car, you need a coffee from that. So he did. So thank you very much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. This channel's going quite well. I'm hoping that I can get onto my own things now. So thanks very much for watching, and I'm going to go in because it's cold, dark and wet now.